So Star Ocean First Departure, this is a remake of the original Star Ocean game. So technically it's a remake of a PSP remake. So it's like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's like the third remake
of a remake.
Speaking on that point, I want to bring this up because I don't feel like the original Super Nintendo version of this game gets enough love. So this game never came out in the West, at least the Super Nintendo version. And this game is known for being very strenuous on the hardware for the game to play. It actually has voice acting. There's reflections in the water when you walk by it. There's all sorts of shadow effects. And one of the things they had to do for this game was the cartridge itself actually had to have two special microchips put in it. One held the data for the game, and the other one gave it more processing power to be able to do these more advanced tasks. Hold on, let me give the YouTuber a shout out here. From Tim Taylor, he put his playthrough of Star Ocean, the original game, on the SNES. So this is some video from the original game. I have it paused here, but I'm going to hit play. And when I hit play, look right here, and you'll see some reflection work, which is just amazing for a Super Nintendo game. See right there, and it's not just. It's very reactive reflection too, so it's very, very impressive to look at for a Super Nintendo game. I remember the first time I played this, I had to play obviously an English translation of it, but I was just flabbergasted that like this was a Super Nintendo game because it just looks so good. So I'm kind of disappointed that we're not getting at least some form of this game on the Switch, which is what this remaster is coming out on, the Switch and the PS4. You know, I am disappointed about that, but I haven't really played too much of the remake on the PSP. Maybe you can give your thoughts on that a little bit better than I can, but did you ever play the PSP version?
Yes, I did. I played the PSP remake of the first two games.
I mean, it looks really, really nice. It definitely doesn't, like I said, doesn't seem like a lazy version of the game at all. They definitely put effort into it. It's got beautiful pre-rendered backgrounds. Really, really nice looking, I think.
It was a good remake. It's strange because it's really like, it really feels like a completely different game in terms of like aesthetics and the map and everything like that. It kind of comes off more like Star Ocean 2,
yeah,
which are kind of less differences in the second game. But they essentially kind of just did what worked in Star Ocean 2 and did their own version and did a little better. But as you can see on the video that had put up, you know, this is a game you can easily port to PS4 and Switch and up-res the game. I think this is a perfectly fine version of the game. The voice acting could sometimes be, you know, your typical anime, your typical anime business. But I think I remember you can either turn it off or do the Japanese version. So if you don't like it, you know, you can shut it off and play it more like the original game. But yeah, it's very faithful to the original game, and the combat is heavily improved also. The combat itself was fun, so I do recommend on that level also. The thing I do definitely notice that they did was there's new artwork for the game. And
so I actually got that part wrong. I initially said it looked like it was the same artwork, but I guess it's different, huh?
It is different. It had more generic anime look when they first released it on the PSP, but this I'm trying to find a picture of it. Maybe you can post a picture up, but I think they're at least redoing the artwork of the game. If I had to guess, for all we know, they could do something. They're remaking the whole game again, but the way everything looks, it looks like it's just a enhanced port of the PSP game for PS4 and Switch, which would make sense on both. You can easily upscale them to 1080p or 720p, however you want to go about it. But what I do find interesting is we actually got this announcement a few years ago. And Square Enix said, like, even had like a little advertisement for it. I don't know if it came out in Japan or not, but they had an advertisement that the PSP version of Star Ocean 1 was going to be coming on the PS4. And we never heard about it for like 3 years. And now they're coming back and saying, not only is it we're still doing this, it's now coming out on the Switch also, and there's new artwork here. So I'm like, I completely forgot that was a thing, but it'll be great when it comes back. I mean, I would love to play through the game again.
When you, we were kind of talking about this when it came out, the news recently, and you told me, oh yeah, this was already announced or in some form a couple years ago. I was surprised because I totally missed that. So that's very interesting. I wonder what happened there. If they just kind of put it on the back burner for a while, and then they decided, no, we should do it now that the Switch is gaining popularity. We think it's a good thing to do. I'm kind of curious what was the reasoning behind that, but I'm glad that it's happening.
Maybe 5's bad reception. I don't know.
They got to recoup costs a little bit. Yeah.
Oh man, Star Ocean 5 was such a bad game. And I've had people argue with me on it before, but man, I stand my ground. I can never recommend that game to someone.